Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I'm hoping you guys are having a fantastic day. So today's upload is going to be a video about a series of storms that will be occurring, and really it's about just the long range, but in terms of the precip, not really the temperatures. There's going to be quite a bit of interesting things going on. Again, like I mentioned earlier, several large storms that could be dangerous, leading to severe weather and flash flooding and all that fun stuff. Obviously not. So if you guys could consider subscribing to this channel, obviously don't subscribe if you don't want to. It's all about it's all about the weather, basically, this channel. So if you want to see that type of stuff, consider subscribing. And if you're a returning viewer, again, and subscriber, please consider liking the videos. It really helps out. So let's look at the GFS model. Right now we're looking at the 6-hour average precipitation rate, and let's go back to hour 6. So this is the midnight run of the on Thursdays. So this is late. I guess it started coming out late Wednesday into early Thursday. And notice that we see first this a bunch of thunderstorm complexes across much of the northern woods and across Nebraska and South Dakota, brought to you by this low pressure that's spinning across Canada. That really is kind of falling apart at this point. It was stronger a few days back, but notice we also have another system off to the east coast. So tomorrow, if you live across the Midwest, you will be seeing lots of rain and precipitation with thunderstorms. Some of them could be severe, and that's again because of this low pressure out in southern Canada. That one, again, like I mentioned, falls apart. A few lingering showers into Friday, but across the Northeast really starts ramping up precipitation as this subtropical, tropical, I don't really know exactly what it is at this point. The terms can be a bit tedious, but it's basically a storm that is fueled by tropical moisture, so the rain will be heavy, and you can see across the Northeast it moves out. Then we see a smaller system across much of the Midwest, not really much, but a good portion of the Midwest. You can see we have some thunderstorm complexes along with some rain. This is now late Friday into early Saturday. Notice we see a precipitation band, a thunderstorm complex, which could be a derecho, could be just a mesoscale cluster. We'll have to see. Starting late Friday, and then going out all the way into basically until it dies late Saturday. So almost 24 hours of this derecho lake storm, and then you can see some rain showers drift across parts of Illinois, Indiana, going into Sunday, late Saturday into early Sunday, and that moves off. Does intensify a bit, and could again lead to some more showers across the Northeast. This is where we start getting next week a larger storm, a larger system. You can see this is now Monday, July 13th, and we start seeing these packed isobars, which means it's being condensed by some sort of force, and in this case it's this low pressure, and you can see that already way out in front of it. You can see it's barely forming, it's very far to the north from the US, and you can see it's already developing quite a bit of thunderstorm complexes across Minnesota, North Dakota, and into Nebraska, and this could possibly be severe, and you can see it turns into some sort of a line. So that definitely could deliver quite a bit of rain, and again, the threat for severe weather, which could damage some cars, windows, things like that with hail and strong winds, is definitely a possibility. Notice that moves away, and this low pressure kind of dives away, but it still kind of, reluctantly brings out these little two batches of precipitation across the northern U.S. And really, much of this precipitation with these storm systems is going to be across the northern U.S. That's why if I show you the 6 to 10 day and 8 to 14 day outlook, which I will in just a minute, they'll show that on a precipitation outlook that will reflect what I'm showing you on here. And this is only early next Thursday, and we've had already a cluster, a whole cluster of storm systems occurring, and this is just a week out, a little bit over a week. And notice that if we were to put this further into motion, we see a few flare-ups, really not associated with any significant system. This one's still associated with that storm up to the north, but it's kind of at this point got too disconnected to really associate with that. But notice that we see another low pressure system, but this time it's further to the south, and that's why it delivers more precipitation in our viewing area, in our just forecasting area, not southern Canada. Notice we have a low pressure right here, low pressure right here. They kind of are really weak, both of them. Don't do much, but they definitely deliver quite a bit of showers. This is now into Monday. This is very far out, so take this with little I guess a little confidence, as this may not even occur in the first place. But overall, what I'm trying to point out with this video is that there's going to be a chance for many storms. You can see even after this passes through, we see another storm pass to the south and or in southern Canada to the north, really, I should say. And it also brings in quite a bit of precipitation. You can see a cold front right there, and another low pressure probably starts forming. So lots of chances. And in terms of good news out of these storms, well, you're going to see some rain. It's been very hot, so precipitation for the dry parched soils is going to be good. Again, obviously too much is there is too much of a good thing, like always in many cases. But let's look at the 2-meter temperature anomalies, because some of these storms may be powerful enough to bring in quite a good dose of cooler weather across parts of the northern United States. Now, this is some early signals. This isn't really set in stone, but this could definitely still occur. I could give you a more I guess future more how do I say this, more closer in range updates of, or outlook of what the cooler temperatures could do. Kind of like an example. I'm getting lost here. I'm sorry about that. But notice that this weekend, across Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we could see some cooler air across the Midwest. So that definitely could be something pleasant, and something that that's something that may be welcomed very much, and this has really been showing up in the past couple of days, and it's not that far out. Hour 90 is really not that far out for the GFS model. Look at a 2-meter temperature shaded, you can see nice 70s and 80s, and the heat stays to the south, so unfortunately the south will remain hot, but a good, nice pleasure across much of the Midwest. Now, this is not anything to do with a major pattern change. It's going to be a brief pattern flip, if you will, but after that we see that temperatures resurge. But again, those constant storms to the north will make it harder for this hotter air to make it up to the north. You can see that this cold air kind of fights with it for a while, and it constantly just is on the verge of, I guess, interrupting the warmer air. And you can see this one is possibly the more significant one. If you were to look at the 2-meter temperature shaded on this one, you can see it's very chilly, possibly, compared to what we've been seeing. But notice other locations aren't so fortunate. Let's quickly look at the European model. It has came in again fully. It is a midnight model run. Notice that this is not a precipitation map. This is just a storm, this is a geopotential height, but it still gives us storm systems that are powerful enough to be deceived or deciphered on this map. And notice that we have one right here. That's one that's occurring right now and associated with tomorrow's thunderstorms, or today's thunderstorms if you're watching this video on the 9th. Today's thunderstorms across the Midwest. So if you're seeing rain in southern Wisconsin, Illinois, Iowa, any of those locations, it's associated with this system right here, this low pressure. Notice that really moves off to the east very quickly. Then we have this system off to the northeast, which could also produce quite a bit of precipitation, even more widespread than what this one does. So that could definitely something to watch. Notice there's these little cool shots to the north that kind of are skirting the, I guess, the suburbs of U.S., if you will. You know, the northern tier, the northern woods, North Dakota, Minnesota, and we can't really see major storms on this map. That's why I'm going to load up Pivotal Weather right now and show you what the European thinks of the precipitation outlook. So notice that when we take a look at the European model, it has a little bit more, more defined perception of what the rain is going to look compared to the GFS. The GFS is more blotchy, and that's why it's a bit more inaccurate, and it deceives people. It looks as if it's going to be more of a widespread event. This one does a better job. You can see that really these thunderstorms across much of the Midwest tomorrow are going to be scattered, isolated, but it's definitely going to be the most widespread event the Midwest has seen in about a week or two, which, doesn't say much, but it's, it's the best chance for rain you'll get. And notice that it fires up quite a bit of little bands of rain and possibly some thunderstorms later on into late Thursday, early Friday. And then by Friday midday, it moves on across the East Coast, and you can see the difference between isolated showers and a widespread system. This is more of a tropical storm-like characteristic. It has some characteristics like that. So you can see widespread rain moving across the Northeast. That will do some nice, bring some nice precipitation across those locations where it has been hot as well. So moving forward now, after that storm passes through, we start seeing signals from this storm, which is further up to the north, but still it's very strong. You can see it delivers quite a bit of potency with these storms across the North Dakota area and South Dakota, the North Woods. It's almost as if a storm, little low pressure develops out of that thunderstorm cluster, but still you can see the parent low spinning up there, and more kind of are as a result of that. And they kind of they do move very quickly, don't get me wrong, but they could be vicious at a point. So that's kind of like that next storm system. And then after that, we catch a break for a little bit, but we still continue seeing these little waves. And then there we have another low pressure. You could see little waves across the northeast as well. You could see, let's see if we can move this down. We see across the northeast some thunderstorms as well. So the northeast, just because you're cooler, and maybe not as, well, really they haven't been much cooler, to be honest with the rest of the country. It's been above average, but just because you're not as known for severe weather doesn't mean you won't get any, especially with such high temperatures and such good environment for storms that we've been having lately. So let's quickly look at the 8 to 14 day outlook, and I want to show you what it shows in terms of temperatures. You know the story, very above average, maybe a bit overdone. There may be a bit cooler temperatures in some spots, but generally I agree with this. And look, there's a precipitation. You can see above average across much of the northern U.S., dry across much of the southern U.S., and then dry, again wetter across the parts of the south, not all of it. If you were to look at the 6 to 10 day outlook, it's much of the same thing, temperature-wise and precip-wise. You can see just a cooler across the northwest, but warm. Again, very, very warm across the central part of the country. Precipitation, you can see above across the northern U.S., below across the Midwest, or the central U.S. and southern U.S. Doesn't mean you won't get storms. I mean, you know, if you were to look at the GFS model on this thing, it definitely shows a precipitation into, let's just look at the total accumulated precip in 240 days, 240 hours out. You can see it still shows precipitation across these locations, which could mean, you know, that thunderstorms will be occurring, which in most cases during the summer, the GFS makes the rain amounts widespread, kind of washed out, you know, like if someone smudged them. In real life, there'd be little like tiny dots, little smudges, more of the variety of what the HER model shows, which is these little spots like this, you know, where we see isolated events of heavier amounts, isolated areas where it's lighter amounts, and you can see it's something more like that. But look at that, even for tomorrow, Arkansas, Missouri, there's a line that goes right through there, a thunderstorm complex. We could definitely see some precipitation out of that could be rather significant. So stay tuned. Again, northeast and east mid-Atlantic also seeing quite a bit of rain with this subtropical storm, or storm with tropical characteristics, and that could be interesting as well. So thank you guys so much for watching. Consider liking the video, consider subscribing to the channel. I'll catch you all guys in the next episode. See ya. Bye.